what I'm saying, because sometimes I sound neurotic, but I know exactly what I be saying. But it be so far-fetched to a person that's conditioned to doing something one way that it sounds like it's wrong or that it's crazy. But that's only because you fighting your conditioning, not what I'm showing you, because I'm showing the receipts.
Right. Right. Shit, who is they? Who has understood? Oh yeah, she was saying, Ben. She must just count on, Rod. They look like us, but they ain't us. The laws of
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I was telling them earlier, we already seized 650 airplanes full of gold from the Vatican. We seized we seized the World Bank and International Monetary Fund for fraud and taxing the American people, right? Under international law, we had a right to seize the corporation because they was committing, by the number of people and the amount of money, it was a gross felony in a high degree. It was like the same as trying to overthrow somebody's foreign government. But the banks was using the inflation fractional reserve banking process in order to steal the wealth of the people, and the people steady reaping less and less benefit for their labor and for the fruits of the land. They was sending the money to other people. We had to go seize all that back. He told you who he was. If he wasn't who he said he was, they'd have shut him up by now. If he wasn't who he said he was, them motherfuckers with them black suits would have been over there shutting him up. So I gotta believe that he exactly who he say he is, because I ain't seen no motherfuckers with no black suits run up on him. They came to see me at work, try to find out what I want. I'm not negotiating with you motherfuckers. I want my people to be made whole. I want you to stop pushing this homosexual agenda. I want you to stop pushing this rape campaign and misogyny and disrespect of the women and the men. You disrespect the women so bad it make the men disrespect themselves. That's some sour shit. You disrespect the women so bad you make the men disrespect themselves. They have to little themselves down in order to be at the level of respect that they can get for their woman. Then she lash out and we don't know how to fix it. Then we're not military savvy. But the man said who he is. They ain't popped up on him and told him, hey, you mislead people, because they ain't fact checked him. So he must be on to something.
So hey, that tribe is a mix. That tribe is actually a mixed tribe.
What tribe?
The Lakota people, they actually mix with Hoshin, the Armaks, and I think the Hindus.
Look, did you hear what that lady said? You what Big Mama said on that last video?
What she said?
About the master kids and the white woman knew?
Nah.
Them little mulatto kids running around blowing her husband?
Yeah.
Where them goddamn kids go? Where all them kids go?
That's a good question.
Most of them moved to the north and was passing. Who they marry? They passing. Where they live at while they passing? Who blood still in their veins while they passing, Elder?
Go ahead.
Right? They don't even know that the eugenics program by Margaret Sanger was singing about was written by Enki. They don't know that, because while he's using polarization of opposites to draw them together. Where Enki want to draw them together using the separation by definition based on complexion. They're using two different things to get us together. So where did all of them motherfucking curly haired babies go off the plantation?
Right.
And them straight haired babies off the plantation. Where they go?
Right.
Where they at? So white girls just that just randomly happened. Ain't no drop of blood over there. Rhythm.
Right.
Right? Where did they get it from? Where they got that blood? Hillbillies. Singing that bluegrass. That's that country boy music.
Right.
Yeah. They talk about try this in a small town. You goddamn right. Try it in a small town if you want to. That's what you call a tight-knit community.
Yeah.
We didn't fell apart. Sew this motherfucker back up.
Let's go.
Right? So
yeah, I think what he's trying to say about the age, I don't know what Minister
Farrakhan listen. When we talk about doctrines, these doctrines, like the Nation of Islam, the Nuwabian Nation, the 5% Nation, these doctrines, these religious doctrines is there in order to try to make us remember some portions of one of our past lives. If you can remember a little sliver of it during the amnesia, you'll start your area created colonies. You want to come in and talk about that? Let's see. I really didn't have nothing to talk about. I just wanted to show y'all that some of the slides in that video of what was. Hey, how you doing?
Peace. I was just gonna. I just have like a comment, and maybe you could like tie it into something. But I literally know parts of my lineage. My maternal side is Caribbean, so she's from the island of Hispaniola, by the Caribbean Sea. Dominican Republic is what they call it, but it's really the land of Tainos. And I have.
That's what does.
I'm sorry.
That was all. That was the islands of Puerto Rico and Cuba as well. Taino, Puerto Rico, and Jamaica.
Yes. And so, I have siren lineage or mermaid lineage or whatever. And my homegirl, she's Liberian. She just was telling me yesterday about Lemuria. Am I saying that right? And she was saying how like those were water people, and how basically before Atlantis, and I had never heard of them before, like her saying that. And I just feel like it's so crazy how like literally today you're like talking about it, because my first time really hearing about mer people was Atlantis, and then learning about my lineage. You know, I never knew that like before Atlantis there was anything else but what people said, like the Anunnaki and stuff like that. But for me, I don't really resonate with the Anunnakis, you know, so like that's
I ain't too keen on them either, but since they part of the record, I got to talk about them whether I want to or not.
Yeah.
But before the Anunnaki came, like we used to like fucking dive under the water for 30, 40, 50 minutes, an hour with no problem. You know, so we was already, you know, partially aquatic. You know, partially land. It was more amphibious than we was either land dwellers or like, cause we even right now in Africa, in South Africa, they on the coastline, they got young boys that dive underwater for extended periods of time catching fish, which is it's an echo from an earlier period.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was like doing more research because like my family doesn't really talk about the stuff like that. I had to just like piece everything together, as far as like even people having abilities, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm a clairvoyant, but because like we've been colonized, like,
you telepathic too.
I'm sorry?
You're telepathic too.
Yes. And my fiance, he's from Detroit, and he's a medium. And like it's so crazy how like when I was growing up, they had us so fearful of like everything, you know what I'm saying? But like I was literally seeing before people would die, you know, I was literally seeing what was gonna happen tomorrow. And like I don't know, it's just so weird how like now like it's being more appreciated versus like, you know, being so scared. And they're still skeptics or whatever. But I was looking into like mermaids, whatever, and they were talking about in Haiti how by the waters of Haiti, there's mermaids that are taking women or young girls, and they're keeping them for a period of time and then bringing them back and teaching them magic. And they're not allowed to speak about what's happened or whatever because it's supposed to be sacred. And like people, you know, the inorganic ones, what I like to say, white people, like they are saying how like they're evil and this and that. And like for someone who knows my lineage, it actually kind of gets to me because I'm just like evil. Like, you know, I don't feel like, you know, we're evil because we're, you know, not what you guys are, basically.
So look, skin color don't make you good or evil. Eye color don't make you good or evil. Hair texture don't make you good or evil. What you have rotten in your heart, making you fuck over people and mistreat people and think you better than other folks, that's what make you evil. Right? So the whole divide and conquer mechanism wasn't just skin-based racism. It was also, my religion is bigger than yours. My God is smarter than yours, tougher than yours, bigger than yours. You know, my candidate is a better politician than yours. And don't none of that shit got nothing to do with us.
Facts.
So we didn't do racism before the invaders came. We invited all people over here that wanted to live by the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
I can see that.
And that's why it's always been known as the great melding pot. When you start searching in ancient history and you find out America, what we call America today, was referred to as the Great Amalgamation, the land of the Great Amalgamation. What the fuck is they talking about, and why do I keep running across this shit? Because all of the clans on Earth congregated on this land. This is the Holy Land.
And my father's side is Cherokee and Chickasaw, because he's from, like, I'm from Norfolk, Virginia, but they're originally from North Carolina, so it's more like Cherokee over there and like a few other tribes. But I'm mainly Cherokee or whatever.
Yeah.
And
so the Cherokee migrated over there to fight in the Seminole Wars, just to give you a little background.
Oh, so I'm probably not even really from North Carolina. Like, my people are probably from wherever they migrated from then.
It's possible, but you're gonna be called whenever Big Mama goes, you just gonna know where to go. You're not gonna know why you want to go there, but you're gonna know you determined. That's what they call the matriarchal call. When you get that shit, ain't nobody gonna stop you from going where you feel you need to be on the energy grid during the shift, because everybody got to line up. Big Mama telling us all where to go.
That's crazy, because I'm about to go to Dominican Republic. I have land over there and I'm building a house, and I don't know why, like I'm feeling so called to get back to my Taino roots over there. Like, I've been learning the ancient alphabet, you know, like the fact that you said, like, the Arawak people, they're not just in those, they're actually even in Mexico, you know. So, like, just learning all that is just, like, so crazy to me. And, like, I've just been like, why am I getting, like, called over here and called there or whatever? And every time I'm, like, called to different spots, because I just came back from, I'm in Atlanta right now, but I just came back from Norfolk, and I was there healing. Like, there was no reason for me to be there for real. I was at my grandmother's house, and I was learning so much about, like, my ancestors and why we look the way we look. Like, my grandmother's dark skin, but I look just like her, and we don't look like anybody else in our family, and it's because she has a different father. But it was just so, like, eye-opening to, like, actually, like, learn about what I have to learn about. And then I was just like, all right, on to the next. And then that's why I'm, like, planning my trip to go to Dominican Republic, because I'm just trying to pretty much get back to the roots.
So the Haiti is the big deal. Haiti got the dagger that belongs in the heart of the corporation known as the United States. It's the carryover, the residuals from the conjure of the Haitian Revolution. Now, when we talk about the Haitian Revolution, we never, ever, 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 ever talk about the other half of the island. The other half of the island was fighting too.
Yeah.
So we'll remember sporadic major events, and we'll read about them, and people will write about them. But why are they speaking French on one half of the island, Spanish on the other half? Right? And then some of the surrounding islands in close proximity, they speak in English. Right? All of us was fighting. There's no tribe that wasn't in this fight. There's not one. We was all in this shit. That's why you got motherfuckers that look like Polynesians in places where Polynesians shouldn't have been.
Facts. There's like Asian looking people in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
And
So
they speak just like us. Like, it's so crazy. And I'm like, yo, where did y'all? They're like, we've been here forever. I'm just like, forever. Like,
so when we fought the Seminole Wars was like the big war battleground, because the trees, the terrain, the enemy couldn't get in there. Florida was way different topography than it is now.
More like marshy.
No, it was trees. The trees was like Florida redwood, some of them. A lot of them was. But when the invaders would run in there, you had half of the Seminoles hit the treetops and attack them from the top, while the other half hit the marsh and attack them from the swampy ground. So they couldn't never get a stronghold. So they start cutting down the trees and setting fires until they pretty much, like right now when you go through Florida, most people don't pay attention. But you have major tree stumps that's been there for at least 100 years, right? And they like, you can tell it was a bunch of trees there, but they don't cut them down. Like, when you know what lumberjacks do in foresting, they cut close to the ground. These trees not cut close to the ground, and they all did, right? And the reason they did, because they burnt them up, right?
It's crazy. I was born in Miami, but I claim Virginia because that's where I'm from. And like, we had a house in Miami and everything or whatever, but I was always telling my mom how I liked more so the middle of Florida and North Florida because it had more agriculture. Like it had more greenery there. Like in Miami, there's a few palm trees. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no like real green. And I was just like, it's actually crazy that it's just houses everywhere and there's no green, barely any grass.
The land in Florida used to look like the bayous of Louisiana. The whole, almost all of Florida. And then where all of the major cities of Florida, Jacksonville, Miami, Dayton, Tallahassee, those were what you call dry lands of Florida. The majority of Florida they lived in the treetops. We called them skywalkers. And it wasn't just Florida. The rainforests of the South that was cut down stretched all the way going into Texas.
Oh, shoot. So like it went through Alabama, through Georgia, Alabama.
Through Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, all the way up into Texas. They had trees cut down. If you go back to the stories of what's this? He had Babe the Blue Eye, Paul Bunyan, the great lumberjack, right? Because Paul Bunyan was the symbol for the lumberjacks that they brought over here to chop all that shit down.
Wow.
Then they found out how to monetize the trees, and we was fucked after that.
Mm-hmm.
Once they found out how to monetize the trees, that's when they started giving it to us with no motherfucking lube.
Do you believe in energy vortexes? Because like I'm here in Georgia, right? And like it does not. I get the kind of same feeling that I get when I'm in Arizona. Like it's a lot of, there's like a lot of bad everywhere, but it's a lot of weird shit going on over here. Like a lot of weird shit. And like,
well, this might help you.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta is where Atlantis is supposed to reemerge from.
Ooh.
Atlanta. But before Atlantis can reemerge from Atlanta, meaning that the elders that's in Atlanta are the most instrumental, but they're not going to be seen until we see three kings walk in the land. And when three kings raise the matriarch, there's some people in Atlanta that's probably about 200 years old. They got the real keys. The keys I got, that's just opening the door to Big Mama house. But the real old people that live in Atlanta, they real old. I mean, like they real old. Like they old to the point where the whites of their eyes look like it got buildup on it, and it's kind of like a grayish color. They old.
Look like they got cataracts.
Yeah, but they don't got no cataracts. They see better than you.
Yeah.
And they got a very strong mystic presence, and you can probably be feeling them from where you at.
That's interesting because I feel like it is probably the elders that are gonna have to come out when they come out. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it's like people here in my age. I'm 23. Their frequency is so slave mentality, so locked in. And like, I know like everybody has to go through their own journey and, and figure it out themselves and wake up when they wake up. But it's crazy because you can give them all the facts. You can read them everything and they'll be like, so? And it's just so crazy because it's just like, don't you want to be your best self? Don't you want to be better? Don't you want to be healthy? Don't you want to activate? Don't you want to, be the best you can be? And like, they're so different than any other like group of indigenous Aboriginal people, because I've traveled a lot through the East Coast, and like I don't know, the people in Atlanta, like it's like they have like a hold on them, and it's so crazy because if you're saying it's going to be the new Atlantis, like I feel like a lot of people when they start waking up for real, when they start seeing everything, they're going to be sick.
Well, a lot of people in Atlanta not gonna make it. A lot of people in Atlanta not gonna make it, and it ain't nothing that they could do about it because they not wired with the requirements it's gonna take to make it through this shift. But there is some old people, and Big Mama just told me, he's channeled this since I've been talking to you. There's some people that we think dead that's in a meditative trance in Atlanta. I don't know where they at, but they in Atlanta, in the general area of Atlanta. See, so in the Crystal City land, they're going to automatically wake up as if somebody poured cold water on them.
Have you heard of the Georgia Guidestones?
Yep.
So, I don't know, like, when I first read them, I was like, well, this kind of makes sense. Like, what it's saying doesn't sound crazy, doesn't sound bad. When it was like, basically translating what it was. And then when I started doing some more research, it was a whole bunch of people saying that it's has to do with like the end of the world, apocalypses, and the Antichrist and stuff. But it had me really confused because I didn't feel like it said anything bad. Like, live with nature, live in harmony. Like, you know, it didn't have nothing that was like crazy on there that was just like, okay, this is like bad, you know what I'm saying? Or not even bad, like for us to be in distress. But I also know that it was a certain kind of people who were saying that, and I read that they wanted to knock them down, but they couldn't figure out how to destroy them.
Anybody that you can listen, this is the saints. Anybody you can't figure out how to destroy them, if you can leave them to their own devices, they'll destroy themselves most of the time. Because people have a tendency, especially the way we taught, to become arrogant and egocentric to the point that they don't think that nobody can touch them. They think they're untouchable until they get touched.
Truly.
You know, so the best thing, like me, I just want to wake people up. You don't have to believe everything that I say. I don't expect nobody to, because ain't nobody supposed to believe everything somebody say. You know what I mean? You're supposed to check shit out. You know, that don't sound right. Right, that don't sound right to me.
Yeah, I feel like it's supposed to resonate with you. Like, if you get the goosies, if you know, flooding your spirit, and that's what it is. Like, I feel like right now, a lot of people are always questioning their intuition. And because I've always been a clairvoyant, and I've literally seen, like, literally my fiance's aunt, I told him, I was like, we got to check up on her because I had like this vision, she's going to be leaving. She left in a week. She was gone out of here in a week. Not forever, because, you know, we don't die, but like, she was gone. And like for me being so in tune with that, like I do my best to just listen to my intuition, listen to spirit, you know, and take my download seriously versus everybody else. And I noticed too, like in the spiritual community, everybody wants to be right. This is the real truth or whatever. And I'm just like, maybe that's your truth. Maybe that's your truth. You know what I'm saying? But there's only one truth. And if it don't resonate with everybody, it's probably not really the truth. You know what I'm saying? If most people are resonating with it.
This is the problem with people talking about they got the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the reason why you know they don't got the truth is because during their research, they took sides.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take sides because you wasn't here.
Mm-hmm.
The body you in now wasn't here. You have to read that shit like a tarot card. If you don't read it like a tarot card, as an energy signature from the past that's coming into the future to give you some information, and you take sides on that shit, whatever side you pick, you're gonna pick the wrong side because there's lies on both sides of it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you don't pick sides and you just try to get like my man on Just the Facts, man, Adam 12, Just the Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't even take sides, right? It's like your two favorite cousins get into a fight. Just break that shit up. Don't get in that shit.
Facts. Like I was on here the other day when you were speaking on a few other, I guess people in this community who are trying to wake people up. And like what I heard, I didn't hear nothing from you saying nothing bad. And everybody was tagging these people trying to like, you know, instigate something out. And I just kept putting in the comments like, he didn't say anything bad though. But he didn't say anything bad. Like,
that's because they got to take a side.
You know, and I'm like,
this is how divide and conquer work.
Somebody just said the Atlanteans were born with ego, and that's why they fell.
They were infiltrated. That's why they fell.
Like
they didn't fall, really. Atlantis didn't fall. We was at war. And what they said sunk as Atlantis was a ship that flew away to Crystal City coming back. It just docked on Liverpool for the 3,600-year cycle until it come back around. Right? And that give us the time to figure out this conundrum we under and work our way out of the problem. But don't everybody that come to work their way out of the problem take sides and get us fucked. They always take sides and get us fucked. And that's why it took so long to break from under it. It's even like people be trying to pit me against people. I'm not finna do that. Only way I'm gonna come at somebody is they wrong. Absolutely wrong. And Big Mama say, get them. They got. They got. But when I say something, you better believe I got the receipts to back it up.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't take sides.
And I think that is a big problem. I think that is a big problem. Like, even for little things, you know, like For me growing up, like, you know, you talk a lot about like gang talk, you know, organizations, and like I never really understood why everyone was against each other. And I understand now what you're saying, like everybody has been infiltrated, and that's why people don't know that we're supposed to be brothers and sisters and stuff like that. But it was always so confusing to me, like, why are we taking the side when we're literally, that's literally your cousin. He on the next block over, that's your cousin, and you have to shoot against your cousin. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we should all be, especially because I lived in the hood. So like I would see like a lot of crazy things, like literally brothers killing each other, cousins killing each other, all for just because they want to rep something that they don't even understand fully. You know, like they don't even understand that like gang signs are sigils. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of things, like a lot of stuff is like, a lot of stuff is ritual, positive ritual, and they're making it to negative ritual. And it's so crazy to me because I have been able to see deeper with that, like with watching you, you know, because everybody has this stigma, especially on the GDs. Like if you're in the East Coast, they have a stigma on the GDs, like whatever. And to know
that's
that,
government
like,
propaganda that teaches us that we. So we were talking about that. I was on the Telegram call. Was it Telegram? One of them channels over there on another app, and we was just talking about the gangs and the villainization of the culture. Trying to do, like, every family gonna have their own family Facebook, but then we gonna have an equivalent that we can socialize across tribes. And the family Facebooks are not gonna be subject to public access from anybody. Just in general, it's gonna be this family got these, you know, and some people gonna have more than one account with different families because the bloodlines cross.
Can you still hear me?
I hear you fine.
Okay, because earlier when I didn't have my headset in, they said my audio seemed scratched up. My phone was about to die, so I had to hurry and catch that. But I don't want to take too much of your time. I seen two more questions. A question that keeps popping up is, can you speak more in depth on the Crystal City?
So when all of the drama happened, the Crystal City flew away. That's when they talk about Noah's Ark. Okay, so all of the genetic material of the animals was there. Okay, so now Genesis 7:17 said it flew away. They took it up into the sky. The story of Atlantis said that it sank. They tell us everything in reverse, upside down and backwards. When you get to Revelations, the Crystal City comes adorned as a bride for her groom. It's actually the Christ returns on the Crystal City and adorned as a bride for her groom, right? The stories of the Crystal City are all over the world under different titles and different names. The Nation of Islam call it the Mother Plane, right? It's a shuttle ship or sham in Sumer that goes to Nibiru to deliver the gold. When the Galactic Council put us in the Galactic Light Lock, or the Pleiadian Arcturian Light Lock, right? And the Crystal City was in a to deliver gold to Nibiru, so it wasn't here. So Light Lock came in, they couldn't get back in. Right? Now we are undoing the cause of the Light Lock by overthrowing the contractual agreements with the enemy. Once we overthrow these contractual agreements, then it automatically lifts the Light Lock. We all then become activate or higher level mentally, because the Light Lock caused us to fall into an artificial Kali Yuga. The Kali Yuga is the sleep state of the gods, right? And during the sleep of the gods is when the trainees, the new gods, learn how to become gods, how to balance the energy of the earth.
Well, the people that's here don't have no intentions on balancing nothing. They had nothing but destruction on their mind because it was all military. Now we going back to spiritual development, family structures, clanning up, tribing up, as they call it. But the word tribe, we didn't use that word. We didn't even use the word clan, but we use different terms. But we don't speak none of those languages. Right? So we use in the language, what we call the contemporary language, to try to relay ancient terms, ancient ideas into modern terminologies using the contemporary language. In our case, we speak it now English. But if we was in, say, Puerto Rico, we would probably be talking the same thing in Spanish. Right? And it is by this means that they use the language of English by incorporating words as catch terms. A catch term is a word that incorporate a group of words from around the world that mean different things under one word, so you could make it appear they all mean the same.
Oh no. Okay, you went out for a second.
Yeah, somebody was trying to call me.
Oh, okay, my phone. That's why they say the English language is a curse, because it be having so multiple meanings.
Right. Well, that was done deliberately. Right. So when we look at dictionaries, what do the word diction mean? Pronunciation, right? In Arabic, that's what they call tajweed, the pronunciation of accurate Arabic. Because the foreigner is never going to have the same accent and carry the language the same as the one that's a native speaker. And that's why Malachi had to learn Spanish, Hebrew, Greek. I don't got to learn all that shit. I know how to go back to the lexicons and the etymology dictionaries and get to the source. I don't need to be able to fluently read it. And if it comes up as a question, I can take the Bible and hand by hand, I can word for word translate it. Right? But that's not necessary because Malachi already done it. Right? So since he already did it, I don't have to worry about that. I'm only worried about the shit he didn't do yet. And the only thing he didn't do was to assert his birthright to oust the imposters off the land. Apparently wasn't his job.
And for those who don't know, just coming in, how would you go about asserting your birthright?
So, and under our culture and the oral tradition, we reserve our rights in the public domain and disavow any allegiance to a legal fiction or corporation. And if you know your tribe, you can announce your tribe with it. If you don't, just say you organic to the land. You the organic people that's organic to this land that they call the Americas. Right? So once you do that, you know, you stepping out of their jurisdiction back into your, what you call proprietary persona or proper person. As the proper person, now it's on file. The more of us do it, the faster this shit go. We could have been done with this 3 years ago had the people been fertile ground for us to reclaim our shit. We could have done it as early as July the 4th, 2019. But they wasn't ready. They still not ready because you still got people that's arguing shit that I can care less about. I don't care nothing about your nationality card. Right? That's not had nothing to do with me. That is not a knock on you. Right? Don't try to force your nationality card on me and I won't tell you to flip it over and see that it says citizen of the United States.
She Arrowhead said, can you touch on laurel tree? I have 5 generations.
The laurel tree is the tree of wisdom. It's the tree of wisdom. That's what it is. It's called the laurel tree. Laurel is wisdom. Right. So that's what he's talking about, the laurel tree. So if you go back to Genesis and it say, that man ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That's the tree of wisdom.
Mm.
And then they was trying to keep them from eating from the tree of eternal life. That's Awas, the world tree.
They said, what tribe does that go back to? Or who and what tribe?
What's the laurel tree?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's ancient, and we had one on every landmass. They cut them down on purpose. The biggest one was what we know as Lookout Mountain in Arizona, where they filmed Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That was our laurel tree. The one for Africa was in South Africa. It was near where Credo Mutwa's temple was located, right? And not far from that was what we call the Yoni of Earth, which is actually a small pond that the women do rituals in for cleansing the earth.
All right, last one, cause why can't the Crystal City land and be a place of refuge for those who want to leave this dead system?
It's not necessary. That's the only reason, right? And awareness has to reach a certain level before it land anyway.
Y'all got like 2 more questions y'all want to ask them before we let them go? I appreciate you taking time out of your day. Happy Father's Day to all the Father's Day.
The people that watch your channel ask good questions.
Yeah,
they ask good questions, and you know I don't have no problem answering no questions.
Yeah, so
I'm not obligated to answer a motherfucker that's talking records though.
Yeah,
I don't got it. I don't have to answer them. But when you come like you did, when you present like you did, I'm obligated to answer those questions.
I was happy as shit. I was telling my mom, I was like, motherfuckers, be happy to go see like a celebrity, they famous rapper. When I woke up that morning and send you message back, asking if I can go live, I was like, this can't be real. So I was like, hell yeah. Cause I was gonna like try to jump in one of your lives when you be building with multiple people, but I be stuck in the state of perfectionism and trying to, you know what I mean? So I'm like, nah, let me just wait. But when you reached back out, I was like, this is just the time to do what I need to do. So I appreciate the opportunity to be able to go back and forth and go over these questions and build with the people that's watching with the tribe.
Yeah, you got a good audience. Kudos to the questions. For they on the surface look like hard questions, but I'm prepared for them because I know the answers. But I appreciate that because now it just clarifies information for those that's foggy in places.
You know, definitely. All right, the last 2, and then this is it, y'all. Somebody said inner earth civilizations.
Well, Malachi got a book called Shambhala Nagartha that goes deep into detail about inner earth civilizations. We do know that the archons, a reptilian species that doesn't look human, lived in the tunnels of Europe and the tunnels of Asia for thousands of years. And these were the ones who was teaching the Babylonian blood magic and sex magic and the harvesting of adrenochrome, right? And these were some of the beings we were ousting from the planet. The militaries of the world, not just in America, but all over the world, were breaching tunnels. I was going over how do you see it on the earthquake map, because when you blow up the tunnels, they're gonna give a earthquake signature that is predictable. It's what you call a low grade earthquake around 3.0 to like 5.
Yeah.
Right. those smaller earthquakes is the ones when they was breaching the tunnels, they was having them all over the planet. And I was showing them, this is all of my Facebook stuff, older stuff from when it first went down. I was showing them what was taking place in real time. This is how you read the earthquake map. This is what you're looking for, right? And you overlay the earthquake map with the tunnel map.
Hmm.
And then you can see exactly which tunnels they breaching. They breached a major tunnel in New York and brought hundreds of children out. They had a triage center set up in Central Park and didn't nobody know what it was, but that's what it was for.
So we got the inner earth civilization. What about the West Indian islands and their lands?
All of the islands, the people of the islands are in the process, right?
Yeah, you did mention that earlier, yeah.
They are all in the process of throwing off the old rulership of the de factos, and the people of the lands are claiming them back. If you can look up two of them for starters, is Barbados, cessation from the Queen, and Jamaica. Jamaica's expected to be a republic by 2025. So all this is new information, and it's out and it's available in the public domain. It's not a secret.
This question was a good one because it ties into a question I wanted to ask earlier. But I'd be forgetting. So when he asks, am I able to proclaim my rights on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, the newspaper? Where would be the best public format?
All of them are equally, as long as it can be archived. That means time-stamped and dated, right?
Which is pretty much everything.
Yep. So it don't matter which one you use. They all can be, once you put it on there, it's automatically time-stamped and dated. At one time, all we had was newspaper. So we used to make public notices in the newspaper in the classified section. Now we have social media that's even more viable means because you can do you can actually do a verbal declaration to reserve your indigenous organic rights to the land and your intentions to restore balance to the land, water, and the air by joining your clans, the collective clans. We all in on this shit together, whether we want to be or not. Okay. And some of the naysayers is going to suffer the wrath of the enemy because they're choosing sides with their sworn enemy. Now, they think they fighting us. They think they fighting us, but in all actuality, they are supporting the enemy. And anybody support the enemy gonna get treated like the enemy, period. And everybody gonna be addressed by their own people, by their own clan. Not my clan don't have to address everybody. It's just like I was telling Taj the other day, I'm not the one who have to clean up the dirty Moors out of the Moorish science. That's the righteous Moors' job. Mm-hmm. My only job was to tell y'all they was infiltrated and who infiltrated them and where they came from. Right? So once I did that, now I tell y'all whose job it is to clean it up. That's Chief Malik Angel Bay and Taj Tariq Bay. That's their job. That ain't my job. My job is to help Larry Hoover clean up the Nation of Growth and Development and reestablish ties back with the BD Nation, the BG Nation, and restore the whole BGDN collaboration. Right? Angel Bay gonna worry about the vice lords and the stones. I don't have to deal with them. That's not my side of the family to clean up. You know, I gotta support Larry Hoover. And because I was the one who took the initiative to start putting all of this stuff in action, it is my chief that end up having to be the one come out and get a report of the land and the status of the people. So when they want to know why am I supporting Larry Hoover, that's the reason why. He my chief. I don't need no other reason, but I got another one. It's the right thing to do. So by he being my chief and by being the right thing to do and by me knowing what to do, that's enough. I don't need no other excuses. While all these other motherfuckers out here talking about what I'm not doing or don't know, they not getting shit done. But I guarantee you, that in short order, we gonna see Larry Hoover, Chief Malik Angel Bay, and Stan Tukey Williams. And they gonna give us the report on the land, and they gonna call their motherfucking soldiers to the forefront. Right? So when he say C Nation is on, when motherfucking Tukey say C Nation is on, and Angel Bay say all stones to the forefront, all El Rookins up front and center, I don't have to deal with that. They can deal with that. But all of the traitors is gonna be treated like traitors. Period. We know who they is. We got the grievance files on them because the people complain about them. It's not my job to worry about every individual that is a naysayer, right? Because like I say, everybody got a right to agree or disagree with me the same. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm not trying to convince nobody of nothing. I'm asserting my blood right to restore balance to the land. That's all I'm doing. The ones who don't know what I'm doing are my naysayers. That's my hater club. So for them, we're going to give them a hashtag, the hashtag fuck Rod Hayes. So they can have a new hashtag. All of the naysayers, that's my hashtag. All of the haters that don't like me, don't want to hear it, hashtag fuck Rod Hayes, and keep it moving.
Yes, please use it so we can point you out. So we can.
They're going to tell on themselves that whenever peaceful people congregate for a righteous purpose, they always come to sow the seeds of dissent. That's how we know them. That's their job. That's their birth. That's what they was born to do. And because they was born to be a disruption, they were also born to be beheaded.
They popping up with questions. I keep saying 2 last questions. This is the last 2 because it's more on like the system. Y'all got good questions, but we're gonna say those for later on. Off with the heads. No. How can we? I think you said this in the previous live. The debt that they say we in has nothing to do with us.
That's nothing to do with us.
All right, so we ain't got to worry about the debt.
That's how much money that they borrowed against our shit.
Oh.
That's where the debt came from, the point of origin.
That makes so much sense.
So they've been borrowing money. They've been using our mineral wealth that they're not allowed to trade. So they've been holding our stuff in reserve for us, but they've been borrowing all that money against it, and without telling us what they're doing. That make us not be liable for the debt. I can't go to the store and run a credit card up under your name without your consent. That's fraud, right? The credit card company can't make you pay that debt. I can be prosecuted for it, though. Do you see the difference? So they borrowed all that money over the years because they didn't want to use, or because they weren't allowed to use our natural wealth. So as long as they got us chasing reparations, we forego our natural wealth. Our natural wealth, the reparations that we calculate from the so-called slavery, which is actually a military action, is why we're not eligible for reparations, because it was war. We was locked in war. When the war is over, the war lock is lifted, and then we have access to our wealth, right? And they also use our labor as collateral to run that debt up too. And that's why it's important for us to stop working our jobs long enough to get from under the Internal Revenue Service, because that's the per diem contract that they under now. They couldn't get a new contract from anybody on earth, but all of the countries are in the same condition. The islands look like they are so far ahead of us because there's less people that they have to make informed, right? So they talking to hundreds of thousands on the islands, up to maybe 2 or 3 million, depending on the size of the island. We talking to 300 and something million people, and all of them don't have a right to the land. Only the ones with the right to the land is the ones we trying to reach. You got some of them, right? They got to leave the world. They got to leave Earth. They can't stay here because they're not genetically tied to Earth. right? And these are the chaff, when we separate the wheat from the chaff. Some of them born into our families, and some of them been switched out at birth to be put in our families, and to take the actual child and put it with one of their families to steal the birthright. You know, so we sit here and watch what they're doing. We know CPS is the largest child trafficking network in the world, right? They tied directly to UNICEF, which is the United Nations sub-organization. They tied to something called Evergreen, which is the Hillary Clinton child trafficking cargo shipments. And they were shipping hundreds of children at a time to royal families all over the world. You know, for molestation purposes, for adrenochrome harvesting, for organ harvesting. They was doing all that, melanin harvesting. But it ain't just melanated children. When you look at the milk boxes, you'll see that it's more than the melanated children. You know, then that's all tied in together in the same network. And it's going to require us to restore matriarchy, because only under the matriarchal form of government is the children the primary point of focus. Feminism, the women take places of the men in patriarchy. That's feminism. Patriarchy is what the man say go, fuck what the women feel. That's it. So we want to go back to the child-friendly environmental symbiosis that we had with the earth before we were invaded. That means that anything that doesn't work in harmony with nature, we're not going to be doing that here on earth.
Y'all got some good questions. All right. I had to screenshot the screen with the questions so I can type them up later. I'm gonna end with one more question.
Yeah, and if you get more questions, we can do a follow-up later on in the week.
Yes, yeah, like a week from now, just because I want the video to marinate and people, you know, digest it and research, just take it in and show the family and all that good stuff. So what was that last question? That one could wait. Somebody said something about Arlington. Where'd it go? Does Rod know about the Carrington event? It was a solar flare that scared the government in 1859.
Yeah, they just had a similar event. It was like a 3-hour solar flare about a week ago. So yeah, I'm familiar with it. It also it killed a lot of cattle. It caused fires and all kind of shit. Yeah.
Okay. Since that was a quick one, the last one is the last name Kiote, K-I-O-T-E. Do you have any idea of its origin?
Spell it again.
K-I-O-T-E.
Coyote. That's an indigenous name. That's actually the tribe whose totem is the coyote.
Mm.
And it's spelled that way, and it sounds like coyote or coyote, but it's a tribe. It's not the animal. So when they did the translation, they connected them by homonyms. Sounded like words. But if you look up indigenous man wearing a coyote pelt, it's just a smaller clan than the Wolf Clan. But the totems are similar because they have a similar tribal nature.
This is not really a question, and this is it. She said, look at IKEA. Look at IKEA. They named the furniture after kidnapped children. And
yes, you're right. That's IKEA was one of the ways they were using to traffic in plain sight. IKEA, the dark web, there's a couple more of them, Wayfair. Yeah, so they had ways that they was trading and auctioning off children in real time without us ever knowing what they doing. That's why they had the FBI had to release the symbol of they pedophile symbols, Because if the symbol was on a pizza joint and the pizza joint had a basement, they would come in through the back door, go to the basement of the pizza joint and pick the child they want. And
That's
they might have come
crazy.
directly from that neighborhood. But all of that stuff is connected, right, to the cabal. The cabal is the shadow government of conquistadors that was running everything from secret because they didn't want to be seen, because the last time they were seen, they caused a major disturbance and they was getting their ass kicked.
Mm-hmm.
So they kept themselves secret and used what we call blood shields, cat's paws, to do their bidding in the public domain. And that's why they came over here with the white supremacist doctrine of free white people in law, using pale-faced Europeans to block institutions from the organic indigenous people of this land. So we never knew what they was doing in secret. If we didn't know what they was doing in secret, we couldn't make a contingency for it. So we had to call a whole bunch of people from Europe to overrun their institutions with friendly pale faces that didn't believe in racism. And that's why you always heard them, certain Europeans were like, why are you angry at us? It was your own people that done it to you. Them people are not our people. They just look like us. But the people that don't look like us can't tell the difference, because we can't hardly tell the difference. And a good litmus test to show you what I'm talking about is pull up Denmark Vesey and find out who betrayed his revolution. Pull up Gabriel Prosser and find out who betrayed him, right? And when you do that, you're going to see it was somebody melanated. And then it was a pale face telling them how to get free.
Just the last one it's just the last name, EMBRA. Does that hold any significance to an indigenous tribe?
I'm not familiar with that name. I never heard it before.
Okay.
But the other one I had heard before, the one that sounded like coyote.
Yeah. Well, y'all asked really good questions today. Well, in the comments previously, and then the questions that have been coming in that we're going to say for another day were real good. I got to update my description on this one because I had put all your contact information in both your Instagrams, your Cash App. So let me state right now, he does not do this for money, nor does he ask for money, but to show gratitude for taking time out of his day. If anybody can make a donation, his Cash App is $, capital SIK, capital APE, SikApe, on Cash App. Show love, gratitude. Happy Father's Day to you. Enjoy your day. I appreciate you coming out and building with me in the tribe, and you have a great one.
All right. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you.